Hello everybody, my name is Nera. I am the mermaid friend that Sidney mentioned in her last video. If you haven't mentioned her last video, I'm sure she's going to link it below for you. So it was very important to Sidney that I answer a few questions about the mermaid realm that were addressed in the last video. She also really wanted to have me read one of the stories from her grandma's book. So I'm going to be doing that for you today. Now, I just wanted to make some introductions for me as a person. I'm a princess in my realm. Yes, I know. Very exciting stuff. But right now, I am training to be a warrior, which is why you see me right now in my dorm at the academy. I am training with multiple other people in the Fae realm to be able to defend ourselves against whatever evil may lay out there. Now don't be alarmed, this evil only affects the Fae realm, not the mortal realm, so you should be good to go. Now, I wanted to say a few things about the last video. What you see at the bottom of the ocean, that is for your realm. You'll see sand, coral, beautiful, lovely, amazing. The last story was accurate to an extent. In our realm, there are trees that look as if they could belong on the surface world but do not. I can say that the author did a really good job of depicting what the bottom of the sea looks like. Those clams on the end of your tail, they hurt so bad. So bad. I won't get into that right now. Nevertheless, I've decided to move on to different things, of course. Now, another thing, if you are a mermaid and you want legs to be able to fight on land, sorry, for me everything goes to fighting. If you want a mermaid and you want to go on land, you don't have to go to a creepy sea witch to do that. Please don't. PSA, I have legs. And I got those by going to my sea doctor and asking him, can I have some legs? You do not have to go to a sea witch to do that. Not that all sea witches are bad. There are some good sea witches out there. The one in that story, real bad news. Alright, well, I think that's enough about the sea world. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and I should probably get into this book. Ooh, it's like falling apart, as you can tell. I'm not gonna break it. I won't break it. I won't break it. Sidney will kill me. I will not break it. Okay. So apparently the author of this book is called Hans Christian Andersen, and that's interesting, I think. Oh. Why don't we just do the first one? I think that's a good idea. Yeah? Let's do the first one. Okay. So, this is called The TinderBox. A soldier came marching along the road. Left, right, left, right. He had his knapsack on his back and a sword at his side, because he had been off to war, and now he was on his way home. Then he met an old witch on the road. What is up with witches in these stories? She was so hideous, her lower hip hung all the way down to her breast. She said, "Good evening, soldier. What a nice sword and big knapsack you have. You must be a real soldier. Now you shall have all the money you could ask for." "Well, thanks a lot, you old witch," said the soldier. "You see that big tree?" said the witch, pointing at a tree right next to them. "It's completely hollow inside. Climb up to the top and you'll find a hole that you can slip into and slide all the way down inside the tree. I'll tie a rope around your waist so I can hoist you back up, and when you call me." "Why would I go inside that tree?" asked the soldier. "To get the money," said the witch. "You see, when you reach the bottom of the tree, you'll be in a huge passageway that's very bright, because it's lit by more than 100 lamps. Then you'll see 3 doors, and you'll be able to open them because the keys are in the locks. If you go inside the first chamber, you'll see a big chest in the middle of the room. On top of it sits a dog. He has eyes as big as a pair of teacups. But never mind that. I'll give you my blue checked apron you can spread on the floor. Go right over and pick up the dog and set him on my apron. Then Then open the chest and take as many skillings as you like. They're all made of copper. But you'd rather have silver, then go to the next room. In there is a dog with eyes as big as a pair of mill wheels. I think I see where this is going. But never mind that. Set him on my apron and take the money. But if it's gold you want, you can have that too, and as much as you can carry. If you go to the third chamber, but the dog sitting on the money chest... What? If you go to the third chamber, but the dog sitting on the money chest has two eyes that are each as big as the round tower. Now that's a real dog, believe me. But never you mind, just set him on my apron and he won't harm you. Then take from the chest as much gold as you like. Not bad, said the soldier. But what do I have to give you in return, you old witch? Because I imagine there must be something you want. No, said the witch. I don't want a single skilling. All you have to do is bring me the old TinderBox that my grandmother left behind when she was down there last. Fine. Then let's have that rope around my waist, said the soldier. Here it is, said the witch, and here is my blue checked apron. So the soldier climbed the tree, tumbled down the hole, and then, just as the witch had said, he stood inside the huge passageway where hundreds of lamps were burning. He opened the first door. Ooh! There sat the dog with eyes as big as teacups staring at him. You're a handsome fellow, said the soldier, and set him on the witch's apron. Then he took as many copper skillings in his pocket could hold, closed the chest, put the dog back, and went into the second room. Eek! There sat the dog with eyes as big as mill wheels. You shouldn't look at me so hard, said the soldier. You might hurt your eyes. And then he set the dog on the witch's apron. But when he saw all the silver coins inside the chest, he threw away the copper coins he was carrying and filled his pockets and his knapsack with nothing but silver. This sounds like a story about greed. Next he went to the third chamber. Oh, how hideous! The dog in there really did have eyes as big as round towers, and they were spinning around his head like wheels. Good evening, said the soldier, and doffed his cap, for he had never seen a dog like that before. But after he'd looked at him for a while, he thought to himself, All right, that's enough. And he lifted him onto the floor and opened the chest. Good Lord, there was a lot of gold. Enough to buy all of Copenhagen and every single sugar pig sold by the cakewives, and all the tin soldiers, whips, and rocking horses in the whole world. Yes, there was certainly plenty of money. So the soldier threw away all the silver coins that filled his pocket and knapsack, and took the gold instead. Yes, all his pockets, his knapsack, his cap, and his boots were so full that he could hardly walk. Now he had money. He put the dog back on the chest, slammed the door shut, and called up through the tree. Hoist me up now, you old witch! Do you have the TinderBox? Asked the witch. Oh, that's right, said the soldier. I forgot all about it. And he went over and picked it up. The witch hoisted him up, and he once again stood on the road with his pockets, boots, knapsack, and cap full of money. What do you want the TinderBox for? Asked the soldier. That's none of your business, said the witch. You've got the money, now just give me the TinderBox. Pish posh, said the soldier. Tell me right now what you want it for, or I'll put my sword and chop off your head. No, said the witch. So the soldier chopped off her head. He chopped off her head. Well, he did warn her. There she lay, but he wrapped all his money in her apron, slung it in a bundle over his shoulder, stuffed the TinderBox in his pocket, and headed straight for the city. I feel like I need to make another PSA. Don't kill witches. They're good for the environment. It was a lovely city, and he went inside the loveliest of inns and demanded the very best rooms and his favorite food, because now he had so much money, he was rich. Great. The servant who was supposed to polish his boots thought they were rather strange old boots for such a rich gentleman to be wearing, but he hadn't yet bought himself new ones. By the next day he had a good pair of boots, fine clothes to wear. The soldier was now a distinguished gentleman, and the people told him all about the splendid things to be found in their city, and about their king. What a charming princess his daughter was. Where might I catch a glimpse of her? Asked the soldier. It's impossible to catch a glimpse of her, they all said. She lives in an enormous copper palace surrounded by dozens of walls and towers. No one but the king dares visit her, because it was foretold that she would marry a simple soldier, and that certainly did not please the king. She's someone I'd like to see. Yeah, I'm sure, thought the soldier, but that wasn't possible. He was now leading a merry life, going to the theater, taking drives in the king's gardens, and giving away a great deal of money to the poor, which was a very nice gesture. No doubt he remembered from the old days how miserable it was not to have even a skilling. He was now rich, and wore fine clothes, and had so many friends who all said he was a pleasant fellow, a real gentleman, and that certainly pleased the soldier. But since he was spending money each day and not taking any in, he finally had no more than 2 skillings left, and had to move out of the beautiful rooms where he had been living and into a tiny little garret room right under the roof. This is also a lesson in economy. He had to brush his own boots, mend them with a darning needle, and none of his friends came to see him because there were too many stairs to climb. It was a very dark evening, and he couldn't even afford to buy a candle, but then he remembered there was a little stump of one in the tinderbox he had taken from the hollow tree when the witch had helped him inside. He took out the tinderbox and the candle stump, but the minute he struck fire and sparks leaped from the flint, the door flew open, and that dog he had seen inside the tree, the one with eyes as big as 2 teacups, stood before him and said, "What is my master's command?" Sure, we'll use that voice. "What's this?" said the soldier. "What an amusing tinderbox! If I can wish for whatever I want, bring me some money," he said to the dog. And zip, he was gone. Zip, he was back, holding a big sack of skillings in his mouth. Now the soldier realized what a wonderful tinderbox it was. If he struck it once, the dog who sat on the chest of copper coins came. If he struck it twice, the one with the silver coins came, and if he struck it 3 times, the one with the gold came. Now the soldier moved back downstairs to the beautiful rooms, dressed in fine clothing, and all his friends recognized him again, because they were so fond of him. One day he thought, how odd that no one is allowed to see that princess. Everyone says she's supposed to be so lovely. But what good is it if she's always kept inside that enormous copper palace with all the towers? Could I possibly have a look at her? Where's my tinderbox? And then he struck fire, and Zip, the dog with eyes as big as teacups, appeared. "I know it's the middle of the night," said the soldier, "but I've such a great desire to see the princess, if only for a moment." The dog was out the door at once, and before the soldier knew it, he was back with the princess. She was sitting on the dog's back, asleep, and she was so lovely that anyone could see she was a real princess. The soldier couldn't resist. He had to kiss her, because he was a real soldier. As a princess, I feel the need to also say, stop kidnapping us. Stop it. We don't need you to save us from our fathers, our mothers, our overlords. We can handle it ourselves. And don't think because you think you save us that you get to kiss us when we're sleeping. That violates so many... Okay. Back to the story. Stop kidnapping princesses. Then the dog ran back with the princess, but when the morning came and the king and queen were pouring their tea, the princess said that she had a strange dream that night about a dog and a soldier. She was riding on the dog's back, and the soldier had kissed her. "That's certainly a fine story," said the queen. One of the old ladies in waiting was then ordered to keep watch at the bedside of the princess on the following night to see if it was really a dream or what else it might be. Smart mom. The soldier was longing terribly to see the lovely princess once more. So the dog appeared in the night, picked her up and ran as fast as he could. But the old lady in waiting put on her wading boots and ran just as swiftly right behind. That is, a very active old lady if she can keep up with a dog. When she saw them disappear inside a large building, she thought to herself, "Now I know where it is." And with a piece of chalk, she drew a big cross on the door. Then she returned home and went to bed. And the dog came back too, bringing the princess. But when he saw that a cross had been drawn on the door where the soldier lived, he took another piece of chalk and put a cross on all the doors in the whole city. That was a clever thing to do, because now the lady in waiting wouldn't be able to find the right door, since there were crosses on all of them. Early the next morning, the king and queen, the old lady in waiting, and all the officers went out to see where the princess had been. "There it is," said the king when he saw the first door with a cross on it. "No, it's over there, my dear husband," said the queen, who saw another door with a cross on it. "But there's one here and one there," they all said. Whenever they looked, there was a cross on every door. Then they realized it was no use to go on searching. But the queen was a very clever woman who was capable of more than just riding around in a coach. Yes! She took her big golden scissors, cut a large piece of silk into pieces, and then stitched together a charming little pouch, which she filled with fine grains of buckwheat. She tied it to the back of the princess, and when that was done, she cut a tiny hole in the pouch so the grains would sprinkle out wherever the princess went. I'm really honestly surprised the princess was able to go to sleep every night knowing someone was kidnapping her. But, you know, if you're tired, you're tired. The dog didn't notice the grain sprinkling out all the way from the palace to the soldier's window as he ran along the wall, carrying the princess. In the morning, the king and queen could see quite well where their daughter had been, and they seized the soldier and threw him into jail. Awesome. And there he sat. Oh, how dark and dreary it was. And then they told him, "Tomorrow you will hang." That was not a pleasant thing to hear, and he had left his TinderBox behind at the inn. In the morning he could see through the iron bars on the little window that people were hurrying to the outskirts of the city to watch him hang. He heard the drums and saw the marching soldiers. Everyone was in a great rush, including the shoemaker's apprentice, wearing a leather apron and slippers. He was moving along at such a gallop that one of his slippers flew off and struck the wall right where the soldier was sitting, peering out through the iron bars. "Hey, shoemaker's apprentice! You don't have to be in such a rush," said the soldier. "Nothing's going to happen until I get there. But if you run over to the place where I was staying and bring me my TinderBox, I'll give you 4 skillings. But you have to be quick about it." The shoemaker's apprentice wanted those 4 skillings, so he raced off to get the TinderBox, brought it to the soldier, and, well, let's hear what happened. Outside the city, a huge gallows had been built, and around it stood the soldiers of many hundreds of thousands of people. The king and queen sat in a lovely throne right across from the judge and the entire council. The soldier was already sitting on the ladder, but as they were about to put the rope around his neck, he said that before a sinner faced his punishment, he was always allowed one harmless request. This guy is smart. Playing to the people. He dearly wanted to smoke a pipe of tobacco. It would be the last pipe that he had in this world. Now, that was not something the king could refuse, and so the soldier took out his TinderBox and struck fire. 1, 2, 3! And there stood all 3 dogs. The one with the eyes as big as teacups, the one with the eyes like mill wheels, and the one with the eyes as big as the round tower. "Help me now, so I won't be hanged," said the soldier. And the dogs rushed at the judge and the entire council, seizing one by the leg and one by the nose and flinging them high into the air so they fell back down and were crushed to bits. "Not me," said the king, but the biggest dog seized both him and the queen and tossed them after all the others. Then the soldiers were afraid, and all the people shouted, "Little soldier, you shall be our king and wed the lovely princess." Because they were scared. Because he has 3 magical dogs. They put the soldier in the king's coach, and all 3 dogs danced before it, shouting, "Hurrah!" The boys whistled through their fingers, and the soldiers presented arms. The princess came out of the copper palace and became queen, and that certainly pleased her. The wedding celebration lasted for a week, and the dog sat at the table too, making big eyes. That was the TinderBox by Hans Christian Andersen. I'm not sure what moral that's supposed to teach you. Hopefully I taught you a better moral in don't kill witches, don't kidnap princesses, don't senselessly kill people because you're greedy, but absolutely go on adventure. There we go. I like that. I think that's good. I agree. Alright. Well, I hope that was entertaining for all of you, and you learned a lot. I'm not sure about this Hans Christian Andersen fellow. I think he might have a skewed sense of morality, but, you know, they're just stories, so hopefully you won't have to take everything with a grain of salt. There we go. I'll leave that to you. Well, looks like it's time for me to get back to training, so I hope you have a great day, And please watch Sidney's other videos. I don't know if you'll personally see me again, but it was very nice to meet every single one of you. Have a good day.